Alright, YouTube, we are back. We got an update for Summer Game Fest, and Square Enix is now confirmed for the event. We talked about it previously. I'd seen a Reddit post somewhere. I could never track it down again. Somebody had made the claim that they were going to be a part of Summer Game Fest. I could never source that. But now we have the first round of partners for Summer Game Fest, and Square Enix is indeed confirmed. So they dropped a tweet earlier today which says, "We're proud to welcome a record-setting 60-plus partners for Summer Game Fest 2025, a global celebration of video games in Los Angeles this June." And yeah, the list here is in like alphabetical order, so in the bottom left corner you can see Square Enix. This is of course exciting, because Square Enix is going to be a part of Summer Game Fest, our partner Summer Game Fest. Maybe we'll finally get to see the future of like what the fuck they're doing, besides the shit that we already know, and maybe the shit that we already know will be there. That's a possibility, of course. But we just haven't really had like a major update from them in a while, right? Like beyond the stuff we're already aware of, like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, Dragon Quest 12, which we know is in the works, Kingdom Hearts 4 recently got screenshots, Remake Part 3, of course. Like beyond that shit, like brand new games coming from Square Enix or brand new games in their franchises and shit, like we just haven't had anything like that in a long time. We literally don't know what the future is, besides the games that I mentioned. Hopefully Summer Game Fest is kind of the start of that with Square Enix, where they kind of start talking about the future and upcoming games and shit, because again, it feels like it's been a very long time. From what I've personally seen, the kind of most anticipated thing from the event for Square Enix is Remake Part 3, of course. There are people out there that obviously want like Kingdom Hearts 4 and shit, but I think I've seen people speculating on like a title reveal and shit for Part 3 the most. Here's what I'll say. Obviously, that's what I want. That's what a lot of the community wants. We want something for Part 3, a teaser, something, a title reveal, some shit. Doesn't matter. Give us anything, please, dear God. But people also need to keep their hype in check a little bit, just because Square Enix being a partner at this event doesn't necessarily mean that they're like showing off brand new trailers for upcoming games and stuff. I've seen this mentioned by Jeff Gerstmann on Blue Sky, where he says, "Keep in mind that companies showing up on the Summer Game Fest partners list might just be showing an ad during the stream, as opposed to a brand new trailer or anything. Like, I have to imagine Nintendo's logo being on there means there'll be a quick 'The Switch 2 is out today' clip played on the stream." And kind of in the same vein, like we know with Square Enix that we already have Dragon Quest 1 and 2 coming up, but also we have Remake coming to Switch, right? So there could be another trailer for that. We don't have a release date for when that's coming to Switch 2, so that's something they could have a trailer for at the event. There's also the rumored Final Fantasy 16 coming to Switch 2, right? That could also be like the big announcement for Summer Game Fest. I'm not trying to be a downer, because it's definitely exciting that Square Enix is a part of the event. But I also want to keep my hype in check, my expectations in check, right? Just because Square Enix tends to let us down more often than they don't, right? So I just want to kind of put that out there before we continue the conversation. As for whether or not we'd have something for Remake Part 3 at Summer Game Fest, I mean, it adds up. We've been talking about it for the last like year or so at this point, right? The time frame makes sense. They like to promote the remake games, it seems like, during summer. We had Summer Game Fest for Rebirth, back in 2023 and shit. Also, the teaser trailer we got for Rebirth and the title reveal, and actually also the confirmation there's a trilogy, was all done during the 25th anniversary live stream, which was summer 2022, right? So at least when it comes to FF7 for sure, they really love the summer time, I guess. If we follow what we heard from the devs, 3-year development cycle, if we follow the trajectory of what they did with Rebirth, we got a title reveal summer 2022, the marketing kicked off summer 2023, and then the game came out the next year. So title reveal this summer, marketing next summer, releases 2027. Like, it definitely adds up, like, time frame wise. For sure, it's worth mentioning that 2027 is the 40th anniversary for Final Fantasy as a whole, the 30th anniversary for FF7, and also the 7th anniversary for FF7 Remake. But this is stuff that we talked about quite a bit. This is stuff that I'm sure most of you already know, so I'm trying to speed through it a little bit. But yeah, like, it makes sense that I think something could be at Summer Game Fest. But again, the expectations, the hype is just in check a little bit. What are people expecting when it comes to a Part 3 reveal? They're mostly talking about a title reveal, but that also comes along with a teaser trailer generally. I mean, I guess it's possible you could see like the Square Enix logo and then just a Remake Part 3 logo that has the title. Maybe that's all they do. But I would assume there's going to be some sort of a teaser. So what they did back in 2015 with the reveal of FF7 Remake, it was obviously something FF7 related, but we got the title reveal of FF7 Remake. And then also back in 2022 with the teaser trailer we got for Rebirth. It was very obviously Remake Part 2, but we also got the title reveal at the end. That's really all we need right now if we get anything for Part 3 is a teaser trailer, about a minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes if you want to stretch it, with the title reveal at the end. What would the title be for Part 3? This is something people like to speculate on quite a bit. The most common one I see these days is Return, which it definitely works in like a meta sense, but also in the FF7 story sense. In the meta sense, it could be like the fans and the devs themselves returning to the FF7 story to finish out the trilogy, right? In terms of like the FF7 story itself, you obviously have like the reunion theory, you have like the pieces of Jenova returning to her. With like the live stream sequence with Cloud, where his like memory, the truth of his past is returned to him. That can work in that way. You also have Sephiroth, who thinks he's Cetra, maybe wants the planet to return to him, right? He wants the planet to be his or whatever. Obviously, he has other goals besides that, but still, that's part of it. I'm sure you can come up with a lot of different ways that the word return can work, and that kind of is the case for a lot of the RE popular words that people speculate on for the third game's title. What I'll personally say, and this is just my personal opinion, return is a boring fucking word and a boring title. Even if it works with the naming convention for the remake games and it makes sense thematically and shit, FF7 Return just doesn't sound exciting or anything. Now, my thoughts on the title have no bearing on what the fuck it's actually going to be called, but I just think FF7 Return sounds very generic and boring. Like, I don't know, it's just something about it. Like, Remake is kind of generic, but it's literally FF7 Remake. That makes sense. FF7 Rebirth is a pretty unique name. I don't think I've ever used the word Rebirth in my entire fucking life until the name reveal of the second game. Another very popular title for the third game is Requiem, and it certainly works thematically with the FF7 story. Problem is, it's not following the name convention we've had so far, which is FF7 Remake, Rebirth, Reunion, Requiem. Like, it's not a reword, if that makes any sense, right? So I don't know that they would do that. I don't know if they would change it in that way. It is still an RE word, but it doesn't fit with what the words are they've been using so far. I really don't think we can roll out Requiem entirely, because it is, in a lot of ways, kind of the perfect title for the third game. But I think they're going for a very specific kind of RE word, if that makes any sense. The other kind of popular one I've seen lately, even before we did our Part 3 leak video somewhat recently, is Reclaim. I've seen that a lot here lately, though, too, the last week or so. And I think it works perfectly. It can work in the same way the Return can work. We talked about that, I think, in that video. With, Sephiroth, reclaiming the planet, Jenova reclaiming her pieces or whatever, Cloud reclaiming his memories, the planet reclaiming nature itself, the planet itself from people, with holy and shit at the end of the game. There's a lot of ways you can make Reclaim work, similar to Return. But there's also, a nice observation from somebody on Reddit in favor of Reclaim that I think is worth reading. So on this Reddit post that we'll have linked in the description below, this person said, Reclaim, the OP replied with, this is also good, but it's a big comment that we're interested in. This person says, this is my first guess too. It can reference both Sephiroth's desire to reclaim the planet and the planet or nature itself wanting to reclaim what's being taken from it. It also fits other themes of the OG that I'm not going to list here. Plus, Remake, Rebirth, Reclaim all start the same way phonetically, so they fit together nicely. I also like Return as a title, but it doesn't have the same phonetic flow as the previously mentioned. Additionally, I feel like Return could be more challenging as a marketing keyword than Reclaim, since it's already used in so many other things. Furthermore, make, birth, and claim keep the original meaning a bit better without the re prefix than just turn. It's that last bit that I thought was pretty interesting, removing the re prefix from these words and seeing how they work, right? And if they're similar words and shit. And make and birth and claim are similar enough. Claim's not the most similar to those words, but it certainly works in a way. And then if you just remove the re prefix from return, it's just the word turn. It's kind of an interesting observation. I don't think it's the most compelling piece of evidence or some shit to try to guess the name for the third game, but it's certainly something I think is worth taking note of, maybe. And actually, the Reddit post that we're talking about here is actually refuting the return subword for the third game. It's actually from the, I think, 129 question video that Game Informer did with Hamaguchi some time ago that we talked about. We kind of broke this down, but I actually kind of forgot about it. They actually throw some RE words at him, and one of them is returns, and he says, doesn't sound quite right either. They're trying to say with that Reddit post is that return or returns won't be the subtitle for the third game because of what Hamaguchi says there. But to kind of argue in defense of the word return, the word they use is returns with an S, right? And Hamaguchi says doesn't sound quite right. So you could kind of look at what he says as it's close, but not quite there, right? So maybe return, not returns. I personally think that interview is refuting the word return as a subtitle because they're not talking about the word return. They're talking about returns. Yeah, I'm in the Reclaim camp right now when it comes to the third game, but I really don't care that much. I honestly could care less what the title is. It just doesn't matter to me. I know that there's a meta reasoning for it, a thematic reasoning. They choose words specifically. But I don't care. I mean, at the same time, they don't, now that I think about it, because they put fucking Reunion for Crisis Core, and that has nothing to goddamn do with the Reunion theory. It's wasted on a game. It should be FF7 Reunion for the third game, but it's wasted on Crisis Core. Why didn't they just call it Crisis Core Remaster or Crisis Core Remake? Why did we waste Reunion? What are we doing? We know for a fact, courtesy of one of the devs, that they were going to use Reunion at one time. It was going to be the subtitle for the second game, and Rebirth was going to be the subtitle for the third game. And then for some reason they changed it and made Rebirth the second game and Reunion for Crisis Core, so now we don't know what the third game is going to be called. And I just why? Why are we doing that? Anyways, I don't give a shit what the title is really when it comes to the third game. I'm here for the gameplay, the story, the characters. I don't care. The title is so inconsequential to me, I don't really give a shit. It's kind of a long discussion on the potential title for the third game, but that's really all we're mostly going to get, right? We're going to get a teaser trailer that reveals a title, if we get anything at all. As for what the teaser trailer would be, that really comes down to what the beginning section of the third game will be, which is kind of hard to guess. We did a video kind of discussing what the demo might be for the third game, right? But we don't really know for sure how the third game is going to start, because this is pretty new territory, right? We know what's supposed to happen after the events of Eros' death, but whether or not they go that same route with the third game, we don't know for sure. And if we look back at that first look trailer we got for FF7 Rebirth back in summer 2022 with the title reveal, it was only beginning game stuff, right? It was Zack carrying Cloud to Midgard, and his Cloud and Sephiroth during the calm flashback walking up Mount Evil. If we got a teaser trailer for the third game, it'd probably be only early game shit, if not very beginning of the game stuff, which is presumably Icicle In, potentially, if they follow what FF7 original did. But they might go a different route too. We didn't get to see Rocket Town in the second game, which we should have seen based on the timeline of events in the original FF7 before we actually get to Aerith's death and shit, right? They kind of skipped over Rocket Town, so you could open up with Rocket Town. We talked about that before in a video. When it comes to Square Enix, there's obviously more than just FF7 when it comes to Summer Game Fest. There's potential for Kingdom Hearts 4, Dragon Quest 12, maybe something from Nier or something from other, IPs that they own, or maybe brand new games and new IPs. Who knows, right? But obviously FF7 is kind of the focus, what people are kind of looking forward to. But if they have something for Kingdom Hearts 4 there, I'm going to be excited. Dragon Quest 12, I'm going to be excited. Like, I'm very much looking forward to those games too. Even outside of Square Enix, there's stuff I'm looking forward to from the event. It's just not shit we talk about on the channel. Like, CDPR is going to be there. I'm assuming that maybe means something for Witcher 4. I don't entirely know. But, I mean, Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm very much looking forward to Witcher 4. I'll kind of add here at the end of the video in terms of Square Enix being there. Like, when it came to Summer Game Fest 2023, they didn't really start like hyping the event up until like a week before, right? When they started doing all the social media posts every day on Twitter, like every morning or whatever, and we're covering that shit. It was like 7 days before, and they're leading up to Summer Game Fest, right? So like maybe we kind of wait till we get a little closer to Summer Game Fest, another couple days to see if like anything starts happening on social media and shit from Square Enix. Maybe they'll start teasing something potentially. So until then, we can definitely look forward to the event. We can be excited for the event, but let's keep the hype in check. Let's keep the expectations in check and just see if they start teasing things on social media. But of course, pass off to you guys. What are your thoughts on this Summer Game Fest, Square Enix? What do you think we're going to see there? Also, when it comes to Remake Part 3, what do you think the subtitle is going to be? Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to if you guys are new, so link in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @SaveYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.